Russia has entered its most critical moment of the war. Putin is losing control of where and when this conflict is fought. In just days, Ukrainian strikes have landed hundreds of kilometers inside Russian territory. From a drone attack on a logistics hub in Yelabuga to explosions in a major chemical plant in Bashkortostan and a powerful blast that crippled one of Russia's key gas pipelines, Ukraine is proving it no longer sees borders. What was once a war contained to the front lines is now reaching deep into Russia's heartland, striking targets the Kremlin once believed untouchable. And each hit forces Moscow to face a new reality. Ukraine can choose its targets anywhere, and Russia's ability to protect them is slipping away. In Tatarstan, more than 1,000 kilometers from the front, a Ukrainian drone slipped past every layer of Russian air defense and slammed into a logistics hub in Yelabuga. The target was no random warehouse. It was part of a network tied to military supply lines and Chinese partners feeding Moscow's war effort. Hundreds of kilometers to the west, in Bashkortostan, explosions tore through a major chemical plant linked to oligarch Arkady Rotenberg. Dozens were injured, and reports of a possible chlorine leak forced emergency crews into action. For Russia, these strikes were a shock. They hit deep inside the country, far beyond the areas the Kremlin once considered threatened. And the message is clear. If Ukraine can reach this far once, it can do it again. But these were only the opening blows, and the next target would cut straight into one of Russia's most vital lifelines. Deep in Russia's Volgograd region, a massive blast has torn open the Central Asia Center pipeline, one of the most important energy arteries in the country. This is the gas route that feeds not only Russian cities, but also critical military-industrial facilities and export links to Central Asia. With one strike, Ukraine has forced the shutdown of a system that powers rail vehicle production at the Demihovsky machine-building plant, fighter jet assembly at the MiG Aircraft Corporation, and ammunition output at the Magnum K factory. No gas means stalled assembly lines, grounded aircraft, and empty stockpiles. For the Kremlin, the blow is devastating, not just because of the immediate damage, but because it proves the pipeline can be hit again anywhere along its vast length. If Ukraine can cut off this lifeline once, it can do it whenever it chooses. And the deeper you look into this target, the more it becomes clear. The impact isn't just economic, it's geopolitical. The Central Asia Center pipeline isn't just an energy asset, it's a tool of influence. For years, Moscow has used it to bind Central Asian states like Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Turkmenistan into economic dependence, controlling the flow of gas that fuels their industries and fills their budgets. Much of that gas eventually feeds into networks supplying China, giving the Kremlin an indirect hand in Beijing's energy security. By shutting it down, Ukraine has done more than stop production lines. It has weakened Russia's leverage over its neighbors and disrupted a supply chain that stretches all the way to Chinese markets. For Putin, the strike is a warning. The economic alliances he relies on can be shattered as easily as the steel walls of a pipeline. And it forces an uncomfortable truth into the open. The Kremlin can no longer guarantee the safety of the very networks that underpin its power. But the timing of these attacks is just as critical as their impact, and it connects directly to the next high-stakes political move in this war. These deep strikes come just days before Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin are set to meet in Alaska, a high-stakes summit that will shape the next phase of the war. President Zelensky won't be there. Ukraine hasn't been invited. That absence speaks volumes, suggesting that discussions about Ukraine's future could happen without Ukraine at the table. And for Putin, it's the worst possible moment to appear vulnerable. Every hit on Russian soil undercuts the image of strength he needs going into those talks. Ukraine's message is clear. It can change the battlefield map at will, even as world leaders prepare to talk behind closed doors. The Kremlin wanted to control the narrative heading into Alaska. Instead, it's scrambling to contain the damage, both on the ground and at the negotiating table. And with that meeting just days away, the question isn't whether Ukraine will strike again, it's where. In the span of days, Ukraine has taken the war from the front lines to the deepest corners of Russian territory. Putin no longer controls where this war is fought. Ukraine has shown it can hit strategic, economic, and industrial targets at will, forcing Moscow into a constant state of defense. For Russia's war machine, the damage is real. Production halted, supply lines severed, alliances shaken. And as the political stage shifts toward the Alaska summit, the stakes are higher than ever. Because if Ukraine has already proven it can strike anywhere, the real question now is how far it's willing to go and what it will choose to hit next. If you found this analysis useful, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring clear, fact-based coverage of the world's most important events.